This is the biggest national security threat in my lifetime. This is part 2 of demanding a federal investigation into Kristi Noem. This is what it looks like in the most basic terms. Noem and Trump intermingle campaigns. Noem begins to divert funds from the state to a variety of personal ads and a scam website, eventually grifting from South Dakota businesses as well.
There's certainly more, but let's focus on this right here. It all starts when the right-wing lobby coins the phrase, every state is a border state. This way, Middle America could get a piece of the action by importing the southern border issue to their Midwestern states.
Kristi Noem depleted the state's emergency funding to send the state's National Guard to the Texas border as a unique, one-of-a-kind gift to Governor Greg Abbott, an act that honestly shocked the country and brought into question whether or not it was legal. Of course, there were lawsuits because that's where the rest of our state's money goes. This decision was especially controversial because the year before, Noem took private donation from Willis and Reba Johnson in Tennessee to send South Dakota National Guard to the border. She did this with a donation without telling lawmakers or her chief of staff, who would eventually resign. She has actually gone through 5 chiefs of staff in less than 2 terms. It was reported that the South Dakota National Guard had nothing to do with the border, and they just sat in parked cars and called Border Patrol when they saw people and apprehended 0 illegal substances, which is what she said they were there to do. This will be very relevant in a minute. On June 24, 2024, a flood would hit the state of South Dakota. It would hit the community of North Sioux City, South Dakota, the hardest. What Kristi Noem did is she came to this town and basically ignored the NOAA and said the flood isn't going to be that bad before jet setting off with our state's money to the state of Tennessee. From there, the flood waters continued to rise. And something else she failed to mention was that the city was actually planning a levee system to direct all of the floodwaters to the only neighborhood in the entire community that is not in a floodplain. So this is the highest elevation of the entire town. Conveniently enough, some of the businesses that were protected by diverting these floodwaters are the exact same businesses on her scam website, freedomworkshere.com. But what's more, remember how she grifted money from infrastructure to build new workforce housing? Yeah, the plots of land that are allocated to that in this community are also saved. Despite massive destruction.
For context, this is what that land looks like now. Nobody lives there.
But she really couldn't because we have no emergency funds because she gave them to Greg Abbott. So she deliberately waited 32 days until some of those funds could be replenished before calling it and blamed Joe Biden the whole time, even though he couldn't do anything about it. That $750 that everybody complained about with Kamala Harris took over 45 days for the people in this community to receive. And these homes are still slipping into the lake, growing mold, creating debris because the city has absolutely no money to clean it up, and it's been almost 5 months. Of course, people start pressing her as to why she will not send any National Guard to these people that are suffering in her state, and she repeatedly said that they would not have a mission, and without a mission she can't deploy the National Guard. But she sent them to the border again, despite the fact that the National Guard themselves said that they had nothing to do there, as well as Border Patrol.
Now, if this little RICO racketeering chart didn't do it for you, remember something else I said, that South Dakota, Ohio, Texas, and Florida were all involved. So we're going to look at this geographically. Because while Noem has made it very hard to see all of the money she has going out, it is public information, the money that is coming in. And look at who her biggest donors are. We're going to do a deep dive into this in part 3.